Oh, your screen's gone funny. Right, we ready, mate? We're going to start. Oh, hang on. Okay, all there now. Recording, pressing start now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday evening. Normally it's a Wednesday or Thursday for Ben, Joe, and myself to do these webinars. And thank you, first of all, for taking the time out to come online. It's actually it's one of our biggest turnouts, to be honest with you. Really, really great. A couple of names I obviously know: Dennis, Callum, Derek, GT, Ganesh is on, Geraint, Innocent, Carl, Michael, Mike, Paul, Reese, Sobi, Steve Jones, Son, and Tony Westlake. Thank you, all of you, so far for logging on, and I'm sure a few others will log on in the meantime. Two things, just to check everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, can you please raise your hands up, please? Brilliant, that's great. Okay, I'm going to put all your hands down. And if you like wagon wheels, would you put your hands up? No, I'm only joking. And can you see me okay? That's the other question. Yay, oh, that's good. Tony can see me, and that's all that matters. I bet Ro's hiding in the background watching, so hello to Ro as well. Well, we're running this webinar again. Now, obviously, because our webinars are live, it could have just been just as easy just to play a repeat of the last webinar and just rolled it out. Two major problems with that. First of all, if you have a question, you can't get it answered live, which is obviously one of the most important things. And secondly, I forgot to press record on the last webinar, which means we couldn't have played it again. So Ben, bless him, has come back on. He's going to do another webinar for us again, go through what we did last week, maybe some new things. And also, could you please make sure any questions you've got, and put them in the questions box on the bottom. And at the end, I'm going to do a question and answer session with Ben. I will ask every single question in there. You can ask absolutely anything you want about the estate agency world. If you want to ask about the mentorship or the lease options, just pop your questions in, and I'll try and get through as many as I possibly can. Now, tonight we're talking about estate agency and how to get into estate agency and how estate agency basically can help you. Now, we all go on these property training courses, and we learn about how to do lease options, HMOs, rent to rent, service accommodations. And the most important thing, everyone asks me the very same thing. As soon as I meet people, they say to me, how do you find your deals? Now, that's obviously the biggest question of all. How do you actually find them? And finding the deals is very, very easy. You've got to look for them. But you can also find ways of bringing the deals onto yourself. And now, if you are your local property expert or your local estate agent, the deals will naturally come to you because, sorry, with my hand in front of my face then, they'll naturally come to you because people will trust you. You're an industry expert, you know your field, and as such, they'll feel happy to come to you with their problems. They might be negative equity, they may need a quick sale for whatever reason. But that's why I think being an estate agent is really good, ground level, get your grassroots in and start from there moving upwards. And even if you're a really experienced property owner, you may own several properties, becoming an estate agent might be a really cost-effective way of managing your own properties and finding more deals. So I've waffled on enough. I've asked about wagon wheels. I've made sure everyone can see me. And I'm in sunny Spain, by the way, at the moment. I've managed to make my way out here. I'm now going to ask Ben to come and join us. If you're online, Ben.
Howard, I'm here and with you. Can you hear me?
Unfortunately, we can.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Howard. My name is Ben Hollingsworth, and I am an estate agent. And I say that with pride. I say with pride because I absolutely love my job. Confucius once said, if you love your job, you will never have to do a day's work ever again. And he was right. Now, I love my job, I love property, and I love people. And that's as simple as estate agency actually is. And I love the freedom of running my own business. Financial freedom, which is fantastic, plus, of course, the freedom of choice. Now, the freedom of choice for me is time, how I use my time, and who I spend my time with, and where I spend my time. Because in a world where we can buy pretty much everything, time is something that we can't buy. I know a lot of you watching this. I've spoken to people who have watched our videos to promote this. I've spoken to people after our last webinar. They've said to me, well, hang on a second, you're dead right what you're saying, because I feel shackled or chained to my 9-to-5 job. I feel I can't leave, I feel I'm trapped, and I feel that it's impeding my life. Now, how many people do you think out there on their deathbed, horrible thing to say, I know, but on their deathbed would say, I wish I had spent more time in work? That's a very good question, and a question which you've got to ask yourselves in what you're currently doing. So whether you enjoy what you're doing or you don't, or you feel that it's restricting you in some way, now is the time to make the change, okay? I'm going to talk to you about our business and how Howard Williams and myself have evolved our idea of estate agency, and also we're going to offer you several different components from the business, a franchise in the estate agency, plus, of course, the opportunity to be mentored. Now, we were very lucky to be mentored by a fantastic guru. His name is Joe. Now, Joe mentored Howard and myself, and we found his work to be invaluable. His track record speaks for itself, and the way that he could move things in such a short period of time has enabled us to bring this offering to you. And we're lucky enough to say that Joe is now our business partner, so he's involved in all parts of this business. Plus, he's got an offering for you. So on Thursday of this week, at the same time, 7 p.m, we'll be offering you a fully interactive webinar again with Joe about his mentoring program. Now, like I was saying, it's unbelievable that he's offering mentoring that starts at less than £50 a month. So less than the cost of a Sky subscription, and you can have Joe on board with you. Now, just to give you a very brief overview, I'm going to welcome you all, give you an introduction, talk about the history, talk about the vision that Howard and I have for estate agency that we've built up over a long time. We're going to show you what we've got to offer you, and we're going to host an interactive question and answer session before we close. Okay? A lot of you know me that I've got a huge family history in property. Father was a chartered surveyor, so pretty much grew up being dragged around factories, warehouses, shops, hated every single moment of it. Father had a commercial estate agency. In latter years, sold that and then founded what became a very large residential estate agency. So huge family history in there. It wasn't all plain sailing. Everybody thought I was destined for the property world when I left school, but being a teenager, now those of us who have teenage children will resonate with this. I knew it all. And because I wanted a good car, I decided I'd become a car salesman. Now, it was only till my mid-20s that I realized that the people buying these beautiful cars, depreciating liabilities, were mainly people involved in some way, shape or form in property. They weren't car salesmen, so I knew that I had to make the change. So we look at property, it's an appreciating asset. Cars are depreciating liabilities. So where do we invest our money? Where do we put our money? And where are we going to make our mark? And I think it's all pretty much agreed that unless we're gurus of new technology, unless we're good with the stock exchange, property is pretty much an avenue that's open to everybody. Something we all need, something that's always made money, and I believe, unless I'm wrong, something that always will make money too. Okay? So in my mid-20s, when I had this revelation and kind of went back to my dad and said, yes, Dad, you are right. I joined a London estate agent, absolutely loved it. I covered Ealing, Acton and Chiswick in West London, had an absolutely fantastic time and really cut my teeth in the industry before moving back to South Wales, which is where I was originally from, and joining a property auction house. Fantastic auction with lovely people, and really enjoyed my time there. Latterly, I've been working in property finance before starting a lettings business just to cater for the huge demand I had from the increasing portfolio of properties we've built up with landlords in the local area. I joined Howard, and we joined forces and shared our vision for the HWP group, which is what I'm going to share with you now. And it was something that's hit me like I can't really explain, because we both have a very common vision. Now, the picture you'll see on your screen now, is of a estate agent in the Suffolk region. It's in a little seaside town called Aldborough, a fishing town. Aldborough is hugely affluent with the proximity to London, the discovery that people have found it recently, the quaintness and everything else that goes with it. It's massive. And I was shocked that a very successful regional estate agent, Jenny Jones, has actually closed her branch down. Now, more upwardly, she hasn't taken her sign down. She's put a sign on the window to say, look, we're no longer trading. And embarrassingly, there's a to-let board from another agent on her property. Now, this just shows us how much estate agency has changed and evolved in the last 15 to 20 years. Technology, which I fully embrace, has really taken hold and really changed the way. So you can either adapt or you can die in estate agency. And that's built up the vision that we have. Now, we are going to become the premier online agent in the UK. We're not going to be the biggest. We'd much rather be the best. Now, if you look at online agents at the moment, such as Topilo and Purple Bricks, they've got certain flaws in them. There's massive, massive customer service issues. Plus, I'm just showing you a clip from a television advert here that clearly states they've got a fixed price with no upfront fees and a disclaimer on the same sheet to show that additional fees may apply. I think this is not sending out a clear message, and I think the industry needs to be refined somewhat so that we can obviously move it on. Now, our vision is as follows. There are several different brands I'm going to run through with you now and just share them and explain what they are. Okay. First of all, we are launching probably one of the most budget online estate agents in the UK, pay as you go. Okay. This will cater for people who want to sell their house on a real shoestring. The second brand that we're launching, there's a huge hole in the market for luxury online estate agents. Every online estate agent is fighting for the same mainstream marketplace, and nobody concentrates and has the offering that luxury estate agents in the high street currently have. We've got huge plans. We've been in talks with massive technology gurus who will show us how we can expand this. For example, we're able to offer our clients things like HD videos, 3D videos, streaming videos, aerial videos, okay? Aerial photography, aerial videos, it's massive. 3D floor plans, we've got them all. There's nothing that we can't offer out there that nobody else can too. So we believe we're ahead of the mark on our luxury brand, and we're going to bridge the massive price differential that you get between going with, say, an online estate agent and a luxury high street agent. Okay, commercial estate agents. Now, I don't know that any of you have ever sold or rented a commercial property, but it's absolutely archaic. Commercial estate agents are running like they did in the 60s and 70s, whereas in the 70s and 80s, residential really saw a huge transformation. Commercial didn't. Okay, we had the opening of walk-around property showrooms. We had no sale, no fee, free valuations, all things that commercial estate agents today are still charging for. Okay, just commercial, our business is going to revolutionize this. It's going to change the way, and it's going to disrupt a lot of very comfortable commercial estate agents. Number 4 is auction. Now, we are really, really proud, and we're not going to say we've evolved this ourselves. We've actually joined forces, and we're in talks at the moment with a very, very large auction house who have currently an online and an auction room presence. They are the largest in their field and their region at the moment. Huge successful track record over the last 13 to 15 years. So we're really pleased that we're in talks with them, and this will result in us having a fantastic offering to the general public of an established auction house. We also have a trade arm of our business too, and this deals more specifically with what Howard will talk to you about, things like lease options, trade properties, package deals, and that kind of thing. So all in all, we intend to offer these brands as our vision, and more importantly, evolve as the industry has. So many estate agents haven't, but we will be constantly changing with the actual marketplace. So we hope we can be the pioneers of estate agency. Now, what are we going to offer for you? First of all, we have positions all over the United Kingdom, plus into Europe, for people who want to become involved in sales and marketing, people who would like to have their own business, a franchise opportunity with us. We've got regional positions, like I say, all over the UK, all over Europe, and we also have positions for associated trades, financial services, conveyancing, just to name but a few. So that's really, really exciting what we've actually got there. So it's a win-win situation. If you want to join us and you think you're the right candidate, there's no investment needed. And contrary to popular belief, you don't need experience or qualifications, because we don't feel those are important attributes. You can work from anywhere, and you can work with hours that suit you and suit your lifestyle. Like what I was talking about earlier, with your own business, you can choose the hours that you work and choose the hours which you spend doing other things, which is really, really important in your lifestyle. No experience is needed or qualifications, like I say, because we offer a full training program, and we also cover all of your compliance and the legislation needed to make sure that we run with you an ethical business. So you'll effectively run your own business within our business, okay? All we ask is that you have bags and bags of enthusiasm, drive, determination, and the willing to offer the best customer service. Because I know a lot of agents will flower this up, but estate agency is a very, very simple concept. All you need is the willingness to offer the best possible client service out there, okay? Drive and determination and local area expertise. Now, we all know the area. We drive around our own towns, our own villages, our own cities every single day of the week. So we know the areas, and we can talk passionately to our clients about these. So I feel that you running your own business within ours is a win-win for all of us there, okay? Now, what are the next steps you're asking me now? We've obviously got a full question and answer session on this webinar, so if there's anything that I'm speaking about now that you'd like to ask me about, any questions that spring to mind, please feel free to put them into the questions box. You need to decide upon the right business for you, the right kind of level for you, okay? So what we'll do first of all is we'll decide upon the right business for you, because it's not going to be suitable for everyone. Likewise, we might not be suitable for you, you might not be suitable for us. We've got to find a perfect equilibrium between all of us, okay? So ask the questions. Take action today. Don't procrastinate. Don't think I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month. I'll talk to my parents, I'll talk to my friends, my family. Because quite often, your friends and your family, they want the best for you, but they'll put you off. You may be comfortable in your own job, and that's what they want for you. But if it's not right for you, only you can change that and take the action today. Secure your territory. Do you want your local area? There may be other people watching this in the same area as you, and they may want that territory too. So secure your territory with us. Begin our comprehensive training program and dominate your ground. With estate agency, there is an infinite earning potential. You're only limited by yourself, okay? So you can become a business owner, you can become financially free and have the freedom of choice through running your own business in property. The best business in the world, I believe, okay? So take your lifestyle on board and make the change. Howard, are you back with us in the room? He's there somewhere, I know. If you've got any questions, guys, please post them onto our questions box here. I can see that quite a few are actually coming through as we speak. So
Yep.
I'm just going to start on here now. Howard, are you there with us now? Can we see you?
I am, buddy. How are you doing? You okay? Good. Thank you for that. It was really great, and we managed to get through it a lot quicker because obviously a lot of the content we covered last week, so we've managed to cover it again. So brilliant. So, right, Ben, are you ready for some questions?
I am indeed. Fire away.
Okay. A couple of people, first of all, had lots of support. A lot of people saying, fantastic, really great, it's brilliant. Geraint actually said it was really nice to have somebody to pronounce his name correctly. So obviously outside of Wales, not many people can pronounce it correctly.
That's brilliant.
Right. I'm just going through it all. So every second, I've got so many different questions here. Yeah, people are basically saying, do you need a shop to do this? I've had that twice now on the question and answer session. If you want to do a business, do you need a shop?
Simple answer is no. Okay. Now, if you had asked me this question, perhaps, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'd have definitely said yes. Because that's what estate agency was all about. The security of walking into a high street shop, speaking to the people in there and entrusting them with the sale of your house. Now today, like I say, the industry has been revolutionised. Portals such as Rightmove, Zoopla, they've completely changed the way we do things. And what you'll find is that people very scarcely walk into estate agency offices anymore. They use the offices, in fact, to hand the keys over once the deal's been done. Most people will look on these portals on either their laptop, their iPad, their smartphone. They'll make the decision from there, they'll make the viewing choice from there, and they'll then go and further their inquiry that way, meeting the agent at the actual property. So you don't need an office, you don't need a high street presence. You can work from your car if you so wish to. All you need is the internet and a telephone. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, Mike's just asked me. He said, obviously, how long does it take him to build up the estate agency? And I can answer this question quite quickly for you, Ben. I mean, you've been involved in, for instance, early age. I was in estate agent in 2003. We all know my story. I came away for a few years, went back into it. But this new estate agency brand is absolutely brand new. Everybody, apart from the experience you and I and Joe have, everybody will be new to this industry. Is that how you would agree with that?
Exactly, I concur with that entirely, Howard. It's an entirely new business, and the speed in which it's launched is determined only, once again, by the individual. If you want to take a year to do it, great, but be prepared to change, because what we're doing today will not necessarily be what we're doing in a year's time. As I said before, don't procrastinate. If it's the right business for you, start right now.
It's funny, actually, you should say that then, the business in a year's time is different to what the business is now. And that's something I say when I do training with people. I say to them, we're traders, you and I trade every single day, and this industry changes weekly. And I know this year alone, the way we source leads, for example, has changed already just in 1 year. And I think it's really important that you keep abreast of technology, the local knowledge, and all those things that are so important, rather than becoming complacent and just rolling with it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are saying, what sort of legal procedures do we have in place for the franchise agreements? We've got to cover, obviously, compliance, which is compliance with our regulator. It's compliance with, obviously, the Estate Agency Act, and obviously making sure that we offer our clients the best possible service by having all relevant precautions in place. So those items will become clear upon application for the successful applicants towards our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right. I mean, at the same time, it's got to be secure for the people coming on board as franchisees, but I suppose as a business for you, Ben, I suppose it has to be secure for you too. And again, that goes back to the win-win situation, which we've always talked about. In any business, if you shake hands with somebody, whether you do a deal or not do a deal, both sides should walk away happy.
Exactly. I concur entirely, yes, yeah.
Carl's just asked me a really good question. Carl Edwards, big shout out for Carl. Well, first of all, before that, actually, Danny's put a couple of questions on, and without going through them all, basically, Danny's one of our latest sort of trainees, and he's working 16-hour days and still managing to source and find deals on top of that. So, absolutely, that just goes to show that we all say, I'm tired after I finish work, and you go to work at 9, come home at 5 or 6, you say you're tired. There's still plenty more hours in the day, and you can make this business work, and he's living proof of that. But going on to the next question, Ben, from Carl Edwards, he says, basically, how will this be marketed, and who's in charge of that aspect? Now, I know you've already mentioned about the fact that you're going to have like a marketing company. You're outsourcing the things that, you're good as an estate agent, but you need a marketing company to come on board to take over that side of things. Is that correct? Is that how it's going to be done,
Yeah, we've outsourced certain areas of marketing because obviously, like I say, estate agency has been revolutionised. We have the standard portal, the procedures that we do market the clients' properties through, which are obviously Rightmove, Zoopla, Prime Location, but to name one of probably 50 different portals that our properties will actually appear on. Plus, what we have to look at as estate agents is those that sell the properties for us. So what we have to do is we have to attract vendors. Now, the way that we attract vendors today has rapidly changed once more. We used to deliver leaflets through doors, we used to have board presence, we used to do television, cinema advertising. That's all changed now. It's very much geared towards social media and click per ad. So their internet and social media routes to market that we have, that we're currently on board with as far as the business goes, to find our vendors, to market our business to potential sellers.
And absolutely, social media, I mean, it's changed so much just I would say, in the last 5 years. I mean, everybody knows me through social media at the end of the day. People feel like when I meet them, the first thing they do is they look at my feet and they go, oh, what shoes have you got on? Because through social media, and social media has taken over our absolute life. I mean, you got from mail now. It used to be when we were younger, the telly would be switched off at the table. There's phones on the table now. There's people checking emails at the table. So social media has just taken over our life, and it's a very direct and a very quick thing. And even like when we used to want to complain about something, used to put something in writing, it's through social media. It goes out to millions of people within a click of a button now.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Mike, he's come back a couple of times actually, but the same question really. He's asking about the legal contracts and the documents you have in place for the franchise. I understand these are tens of thousands of pounds to produce. Do you have the correct comprehensive franchise documents in place for those that want to join? I know the obvious answer to that is yes, we're doing all through that place. It might be worth giving yourself a call, Ben, if you want to have a good chat through that. I go through the contracts and we've got no problems with that at all.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. Mike, can you just drop me your telephone number? You can personal message me, or you can drop us an email with your telephone number, and we can run through all of that in detail and answer any specific questions on the contract which you may have.
Somebody just said, what happens if two people want to take over an area? What is it? What I think what they're saying here is, you just first come first served, or do you actually select the people? The people got to be. Are you picking the right people, or are you opening it up to the masses?
Well, the simple answer to that is that there's obviously a lot of territory to actually be covered, so there's huge opportunities. We are going to select people. People do not have an automatic right to their particular area by applying for this. So, like I said in my presentation, if it's not right for us or not right for you, it's not something that we will proceed with, because that would be unfair on both parts. However, if the correct and fit proper applicant moves forward in a specific region, they are awarded that region will not be taken off them if somebody else comes along and asks for it, or is deemed to be better, more suitable, whatever the case is. Once that has been awarded, unless they choose to obviously submit that back to us themselves, or there's perhaps misconduct or any number of different things, we will move on with that individual as originally put in place. If that answers the question, obviously there are more factors to it than that, but I think that's a pretty much sort of a broad brush of how we will work. We will sort the suitable applicants, but we will not look to obviously replace people, hire, fire, etc. We are ethical in what we do and look forward to long-term profitable partnerships with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a short thing. It's it's a lifelong. Like you and I are business partners, and it's lifelong. It's not just a quick fix for now and moving on. Just to let everyone know, in the questions section and the chat section, I have added a small link there for people to click on to register their interest in the state agency, and we can be kept updated. So thank you for what's your email address. If anyone wants to contact Ben or myself, if you send a message to info@howardwilliamsproperties.co.uk, and actually Mike, if you do that, we'll be able to help you out. How big are these franchise areas? That's a really good question. Over to you, Benjamin.
We haven't broken it down by defined franchise or territory areas. Okay, it's very much a case of let's have a look at the individual areas, because we may have certain areas, for example, in London, whereby geographically and in distance are smaller in area than perhaps, for example, areas in South Wales, areas in the North East, areas in Scotland, where you may need to have a much larger territory or patch to obviously accumulate the same amount of listings and make the same amount of earning potential. Demographics come into this as well, so there are no defined boundaries. We will have a look at stats for those particular areas when we discuss with you what your target area would likely be.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Of course, in London, for example, they've probably got one area agent covering just a 3-mile radius, for example, whereas in South Wales, they might cover a 50-mile radius. So, yeah, very good point. Thanks for that, mate. The next question is from Geraint. It's from Geraint, who pays for the AdWords, and will there be centralised websites, or will individuals have their own website? I think we can answer that, but if you'd like to answer that question, Ben?
Sorry, you just broke up then, Howard. Could you just repeat the question once more, sorry?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm still here. Basically, Geraint has asked, who pays for the AdWords, and will there be like a one website, or does every agent have their own little website?
Okay, there will be one central website for each of the core businesses. However, each agent will have their defined territory within that particular website. Okay, so the cost base will be centralized for all marketing and advertising promotions that we tend to run when we launch the actual business. So, yeah, great question. It will be something that, by obviously the economies of scale, we will be able to negotiate fantastic rates, terms on, etc. Okay, but it's not something that will affect obviously each individual coming in. They won't be expected to make contributions up front, etc. Things like that. It will be something that we'll discuss within the actual business model when we meet with the suitable applicants.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a good point, because I assume that obviously there'd be like a central website. There would be like a call center which handle the calls, which would then leave the local property experts free to go out there, speak to people, bring properties on, sell properties. Whereas I know when I was in estate agent, a lot of your time was, can I say, customer service, answering the right move inquiries, answering the Zoopla inquiries. So a lot of that will be self-done and then forwarded on towards the end when needed to the local property experts, if I understand that correctly. On to the next question, Ben, sorry, from Carl. Carl spelt with a K, the same as my grandfather. My grandfather was Norwegian. He was asked, would love to chat to you further about this, to Howard. I'll give you a call. Brilliant, you got my number, I believe. I think most people have got my number now. I'm not really that well hidden. Ali Khan, big, good question. Okay, Ben, let's talk straight. How much capital do we need?
Do you know what? It depends on the package which you actually come in it, but absolutely nothing is a simple answer to that. Okay, we've got obviously a mentorship and training program for those people that need it. Some people may not need it. So let's have a look at each individual person's circumstance and how they want to come into this, how they want to launch, what their circumstances are, and let's work out a package that suits both ourselves and yourselves. But a simple answer is that I know a lot of these companies, if you look at the various list of franchised estate and letting agents throughout the UK, it ranges anything from sort of £1,500 through to about 50 grand to actually join. We do not have access fees as such like that.
Yeah, and that actually answers a load more questions then coming in. I won't go through them all, but basically they, in a bit said, how do the fees split? How much are you going to be charging vendors? But that, I suppose, the amount of the fee splits, sorry, is cut down depending on their entry level, and so that's really done on a person-by-person basis. There's no clear straight line on that. Every single applicant is taken at their own merit. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. I mean, what we want to do is we want to grow this business. We've got a long-term vision for this business. Yes, it will be constantly changing, constantly evolving, and I understand people will come and go. It's only natural, okay? But what we want to do is we want to concentrate on establishing long-term profitable partnerships with our local experts, okay? So the business works for us, but it also works duly for them too, okay? So we're going to put measures in place that ensure that contracts, splits, commissions, fees, payments, everything to do with the business is entirely fair to both parties. That is essential, because I don't want to be, without being too bold about this, out there every single day looking for new people, for new target areas, training courses consistently. I want to build up a team of established, good people that will stay with us because the deal works for them too. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely, and that actually answers Mike Hunt's next question. What are the packages? I suppose again, there will be a sales and a lettings package in the page ago. The just commercial, but I'm saying I got the giggles. I'm so sorry, and also the luxury brand as well. Do you know what? Yeah, and then the luxury brand as well will have the sales and letting side as well. Is that correct? All three?
Yes, indeed. Sorry, we just got a bit sidetracked there. I think it's got something to do with somebody's name, but anyway, moving swiftly on.
Okay. Last question, I think. If you have any more questions, please get them in the box now, because otherwise I'm going to go and have my sangria and paella. Did you like that? I tried to say it in Spanish. I sound like a bit like a dick, but there we go. How long will it take to set up and get out there, and when it's starting if it hasn't already started? Good question. Danny Salisbury again.
Great news, guys. You have come in on the top level. Okay, we are literally launching the business. We're looking at a soft launch for November and our product launch in January. Okay, so basically you'll be able to start trading as early as November. So fantastic news there. I hope that answers that question. We do have to refine certain things that we've got involved in the business. Certain infrastructure has to be put in place. So it means we can trade compliantly, ethically and fairly. Okay, so once that's in place, and we have obviously the franchise agreements in place with the successful applicants, we will then go for a soft launch in November. So all things being well, guys, it could be November, it could be early January. But the great news is the earning potential is not far away.
Something going completely off questions now, and I'm really good at going off course, as we all know. We had over 50 inquiries after Thursday's webinar. I don't know if you're aware of this, Ben, and it was ridiculous. And I'm still going through the people because every phone call takes half an hour, so I'm still getting time to go through every single person. So apologies if I haven't got back to everyone yet. But I've had 4 people ask the same question. We already own estate agents. We are getting bogged down by Rightmove and Zoopla fees, and all those things. Can they transform from a high street agent to this?
Easily. Natural transition, and something that would be very, very simple. Plus, they know the patch, they know the area, they know the job, they know a lot of the clients, they know a lot of the investors in the local area. I'd say that would be an ideal transition to make huge, huge cost savings. Plus, with the power of our branding and marketing and everything else we're putting in place, and the support that we've got, it would make an ideal move for people who are in that position right now. Okay, the monthly income, the monthly cost, well, it's a little bit like asking an estate agent how much they earn. I mean, you can look at an unsuccessful estate agent in a poor territory who's barely able to put bread on the table, and you can then look at somebody like, for example, John Hunt, who founded Foxton's Estate Agents and who is a multi-billionaire. So I think it's all down, once again, like I say, to the individual.
Absolutely, and he likes minis as well, by the way.
He's got quite a few of them now, hasn't he? But I don't think he drives one himself, though, so that's always something to bear in mind.
He's too busy putting county court judgments on the new owners of VHS, if I remember rightly.
That's it, yes. That was quite interesting, actually. Somebody said to us, Foxtons are a very, very aggressive estate agent in some ways. They're fantastic at what they do. But the guy, Dominic Chappelle, who was the ex-racing driver who took over VHS for £1, and then obviously I think there's been certain problems there on inwards with pension funds and other things that we've seen on television, but that's for them to sort out. He sold a property, and one of his bankruptcies was actually due to non-payment of Foxton's sale fees. They actually sent him bankrupt, so that's fairly aggressive, I'd say. But anyway, fantastic estate agent, love what they do, love their business in London, love their offices, so onwards and upwards.
Do you know what? Those offices in London, I go to London all the time, everybody knows that, and you can only aspire, can't you? They're absolutely unique and they're brilliant. Just a quick raise of hands. I have put a point in the chat box with a link for people to register their interest into estate agent. Could everyone just pop their hands up? They don't necessarily have to fill the form in, just so they've actually seen the post, and if they haven't, it means I've done something wrong. Great, nobody's putting their hands up. Yay, we've got some hands up, that's brilliant, it's working. Thank you so much, that's brilliant. Okay, Ben, I think, one last question. Nope, that's not a question, that's just somebody saying brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, I mean, not being funny, Ben, your father had the biggest estate in down south. I mean, was it 120-something branches at their height, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, they were all 125 branches, yes, yeah, it was pretty big, yeah.
So if anybody knows about estate agents, it's you and your family, it's in your blood, in effect, you know what I mean? Obviously, we all know you went on to sell little cars, but regarding the estate agency side, there's nobody better to take this business forward, and we thank you for taking this on board. Going on to Thursday, we've got a webinar regarding about mentorships, how to choose the right mentor, what a mentor should be for you and what you should be to a mentor. So everyone says, I'm going to choose a mentor, but the mentor has to choose you as well. So that's quite a good subject that's going to be brought up on Thursday. And then the following Thursday, and there was a dramatic hand action that was then, I should be in theatre. It's going to be talking about rent-to-rent. It's quite a buzzword. People love rent-to-rent. Rent-to-rent are basically a lease option without the option to purchase. And we've got an absolute corking speaker coming in to talk on this subject. We won't give any names away yet because I really want to keep it secret because I'm over the moon that she's agreed to come on board with us and do this webinar. She also is coming on the 5th and 6th of November to the Celtic Manor Resort to do half-days training about rent-to-rent. Well, she'll be there to answer any questions. She'll be there for the full 2 days as well, if there's anything comes up. And if you haven't got tickets for that event, it's howardwilliamstraining.co.uk. I believe, I know Ben's gone now, sorry, I think there's 6 tickets left for the Celtic Manor event. It's $499.99. You can bring a partner for free. It includes accommodation and meals. Please, please, please come to it, because every single one we have done so far has been A, a sellout, and secondly, people just absolutely love the content we give. So that would be fantastic. Benjamin, over to you.
Great. Well, indeed, Howard, thank you for hosting this webinar. I think, judging by the response amount of questions we've had, the number of hands up in the poll, I think it's been a roaring success. And I'm really, really excited about the next stage of the business. I thank Joe Dolan for his input in helping us to achieve what we've achieved in a very short period of time. Guys, if you are interested in moving very quickly, Thursday night, 7 p.m. for the webinar, like Howard said, has got to be the place to be with Joe. In the meantime, I will be available at all times. Please drop us an email or a PM on Facebook. Connect with us on Facebook, and I will be available at all times to answer any questions you have about the estate agency opportunity, the opportunities in your area. No matter what the question is, how daft it may sound, just ask it, because I want to find the right people in the right areas so we can make this, like I say, the UK's favourite web estate agency. Guys, thank you very much for joining.
Before you go, one thing, we should really, obviously last week we sent our best to your wife, who was not very well. I believe she's now on the road to recovery, which is fantastic news. But unfortunately, obviously, Joe couldn't be here today. There's been a sudden death in his family, and he was supposed to host this webinar. And we know he's not listening, but we still always send our best out to Joe. And in this time of sort of quite sadness, unfortunately, we really wish him all the best. And if he, as always, he's a top man, and we send everything we can to help him through this hard time.
Thoughts entirely concurred by myself, Howard. Yeah, indeed, guys. Thanks very much indeed. I think we are going to call it a night. And we look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.
Look forward to it, and take care, everyone. And don't forget, any questions, you've got the links on the chat box, just send them through.